And you know what time it is? It's time for KP's Video News. KP's Video News, y'all. KP's Video News, y'all.
That's right, it's time for KP's Video News, y'all. And I got some stories here today. I got a couple of follow-ups that I need to do. But in the meantime, I'm gonna do this, opinion, and it's like, if it wasn't for the black media, if it wasn't for the black media out here in the United States, man, who's really truly gonna tell the true story about what's going on in this country, and who's really truly gonna tell the story about what affects black people in this country? Because nobody, if it wasn't for the black media, and basically small black media, like, just like KP's Video News, I try to bring stories, man, that affect us as a whole. And like I said earlier, before, on more than one occasion, I've mentioned that I tried to approach several TV stations, BET, Centric, Aspire, TV One, and a few other black TV stations, and asked them one simple question: where is the news that concerns black people? Where's the black news located? Where is it? Where's your primetime black news station? Where are they? Where are they located? So, it's just something that just doesn't exist. So therefore, we have to make it on platforms like this, like YouTube. We have to tell our own story, because if it wasn't for black media telling the story that we have, it would never be shown. And then you got like black newspapers, historical black newspapers, and newspapers itself, they're basically like a thing of the past. But having said that, it's been a lot of, the Chicago Defender, and they had several. Every major city has a black-owned newspaper, and some of them have disappeared because, due to social media, people just don't pick up a newspaper and just read it like that anymore. So if they don't switch over and start putting their stories online, then a lot of these companies are just going to disappear, and you'll never see them again. Anyway, like I said, like News One, this is News One, and they eventually spawned like TV One and Radio One. So I think it might have been Radio One first, and then TV One. And I approached them as well. And I believe TV One, I believe they had Roland Martin over there doing the news. But early in the morning, man, like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, which does nobody any good, because, most people are either asleep. If they're not asleep, they're at work, on their way to work. So we need a prime time between like 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock in the evening. We need a prime time news TV channel, black TV station, that's going to show some serious and some positive black news stories about black people, because it's always the negativity. ABC, NBC, and all the rest of them, man, all they show is negativity when it comes to any people of color, black, Hispanic, Asian. It's always negativity. They never show any of the positive things. They'll show a mugshot before they'll show you a kid that's has a 4.5 grade average. A black kid that has a 4.5 grade average is going to college at age 12. They won't show those stories. And these stories do exist. They do exist. So, telling you, man, So this is what Malcolm X stated a long time ago, over 50 years ago. If you're not careful, the newspapers will have you hating the people who are being oppressed and loving the people who are doing the oppressing. And so that's where we're at today when it comes to the media. The media, they'll have you hating the victim and loving the victimizer. So, I'm just saying, man, the stories are out there, but you gotta read between the lines on a lot of this mess. And that's one thing that I learned as a child, when I had an older brother that used to bring home different types of newspapers, the Free Press, Muhammad Speaks, the what was that other newspaper that he used to bring home? Those two in particular. Oh yeah, the Black Panther paper. And then I would get like the Chicago Sun-Times, and I would read those stories, and it seemed like the Free Press, the Black Panther paper, and the Muhammad Speaks would always have one aspect of the story, and the Chicago Sun-Times would have a story that would basically always favor the cops or always favor the politicians. It would never favor the people. So I got a chance to see the difference between the journalism, and it always sparked my curiosity to read those stories to see how different they would be, and they were always different. So it's almost like the mainstream news media is being puppeteered by the government, by the United States government, federal government, local government, to only show the people that are in power in a positive light, and everybody else in a negative light. So, so how do you sift through all this garbage? And you got violence, man, out there in the streets. You got police violence. You got political violence, and but then in the middle of all that, you got all these communities across the nation that are suffering, and so how is it possible, to see the crimes that the nation is complicit from? You got from Haiti to Palestine to the United States, China, Russia. All these countries are all parts of Europe. All these countries, you'll be surprised how many countries that are in Africa right now that are sucking up all the resources, that are creating problems between countries, that are creating and starting revolutions, and so the people can wipe each other out, so they can just walk right in and just take all their resources. You'll be surprised, man, who's the puppeteers behind all these things. So if it wasn't for the black journalists who have risked their lives to tell the truth about all this madness that goes on, you will never get the truth, man. You will never ever get the truth. If it wasn't for the black media telling the truth about the work that black people have been doing to create a semblance of freedom and dreams of reality, and but what we have put together is just a small percentage of what's going on in this country and around the world. So, it's like, and a lot of people, looked at the smear campaign they did on Bill Cosby. They did whatever they could to destroy him, only to keep him from getting and acquiring NBC. And if he would have acquired NBC, that meant he would have been able to change some of this mainstream news media stuff that could have been going on, and he could have put a positive spin on a lot of the things that black people do. But they wanted to keep him away from that, so therefore they created their narrative. And you'll be surprised how many black people bought into that narrative. And how do you go from being a positive person to overnight in prison, and you don't even get a chance to tell your story? Okay, so on with the show, folks. We got a black man that served 22 years on death row for the murder of a white woman that he said he didn't do it. And Texas black man was accused of killing a white woman and had been on death row the last 22 years. Now he's making his case about why another man should be behind bars. Rodney Reed was scheduled for execution back in 2019, but the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals issued a stay just 5 days shy of that date. Reed's defense team from Innocent Project, a nonprofit organization whose main objective is to help free individuals who have been wrongly convicted, petitioned the court with new evidence indicating someone else had committed the crime. The new hearing, which is in the second week, is to determine if Reed should be released, given a new trial, or sentenced to death. And Judge J.D. Langley will be opportune to express his opinion on the new findings. It will be followed by a Texas Court of Appeals review of Langley's opinion and his final ruling. So, in 1996, Stacy Stites of Bastrop, Texas, 19, was expected to at work one morning, but she never showed up. An investigator said Stites was found strangled and left beside the road. And during the autopsy, DNA materials from sperm samples were collected from the victim, identified Reed. As a result, Reed was arrested, convicted, and sentenced to death in the murder of Stites solely based on the DNA evidence. For years, the defendant maintained his innocence and said he had a secret consensual relationship with the victim until the day before her demise. At the time, Stites was engaged to Jimmy Fennell, a former police officer who was released from prison in 2018 after serving 10 years for the kidnapping and assault of a woman on duty. At the start of the hearing, on July 19th, the defense called Michael Bordelon, who has served time in prison with the former victim's fiancee during his 10-year stint. He stated that Fennell confided in him about killing his fiancee and framing Reed for the crime. I took care of her, and that N-word is going to end up doing the time, testified Bondon as he McFennell into making a strangulation gesture at the time. In addition, Arthur Snow, a former inmate who had previously been a member of the Aryan Brotherhood, met Fennell when he approached the gang for protection in prison. You wouldn't believe how easily a belt would break. Strangling an N-word loving whore, Snow testified Fennell had told him. So that's two people. The belt used to strangle Stites at the scene of the crime was split in two. In the initial trial in 1998, prosecutors established Reed never knew Stites. However, the defense team called on Victor Juarez and Rebecca Randall, who had worked at the same grocery store with Stites, to testify. Both former colleagues claimed they saw the victim and Reed talking to each other, other discreetly on more than one occasion. Other former co-workers testified Fennell was jealous, threatening, and controlling, while Stites had been having second thoughts going through with the marriage. Reed's defense in the most recent hearing dealt another blow to the prosecution case by calling two forensics experts who claimed the initial time of death established in 1990 was wrong. According to them, the state of Stites' body had indicated she was killed several hours than the prosecution had established. Hence, she must have been killed only when she was home with Fennell. On the stand and questioned by Reed's lawyers, Fennell told the court both forensic experts were lying. In contrast, Lisa Tanner, an assistant district attorney, stated to court there had been no concrete evidence of a relationship between Reed and Stites. Instead, maintained Reed's lawyer had three previous theories about the killing, while prosecutors had been consistent from the beginning. So here we go. We're going to see how that turns out. That's going on right now. And this other story that I talked about and I spoke on about they got some newly released body camera images to show the arrest made by two Aurora police officers. This is the next story. This is a follow-up on the on Friday that has resulted in excessive force charges for the officers. John Harbert and Francine Martinez were the first two responding officers on the July 23rd incident in Aurora, Colorado, and court documents stated the suspect they wound up arresting, said, "You're killing me," as one of the officers pistol whipped him and choked him. The suspect was arrested on that day, Kyle Vincent. The officers responded to a report of trespassing and encountered Vincent there along with two other suspects, and the court documents state the officers ordered the suspects to sit down while they attempted to run a records check on them, but two of them ran away, and that's when they attacked the victim that was still sitting there. The victim that didn't run, they attacked that victim, and they attacked that so-called suspect, and so they then they filed a false report. So they're under investigation right now, and we'll see. I'll do another follow-up on that when I get more information. And there's another follow-up on an Atlanta police officer and a sergeant were removed from duty after the video surfaced of a woman being kicked in the head. That's a story that I also reported on, and so the officers claimed that they became concerned over the female's mental health and requested Grady EMS transport her to the hospital for evaluation, and that female wasn't charged with anything, but the female's mother was there, and the mother was arrested. It's crazy, man. It's just some crazy stuff going on, and these cops literally kicked this woman that was on the ground while she was on the ground, kicked her in the head, man. So I guess I'm getting to that point now where nothing really shocks me anymore. And I really hate to be in that, in the mindset like that, because a lot of this stuff is super serious, and it's extremely serious. But it's like you look at it and you say, "Wow, man! 5 years ago, 10 years ago, we probably would never see these stories and never know about these stories, because now everybody has a camera on their phone and everybody can videotape everything they see. So now we got live video evidence of these things when they happen in true time. So, and then people can put it up on the internet, man, and before you know it, it's all over the world. It's nationwide and all over the world. So, on with this next story that's connected to that, we have Governor Gavin Newsom that signed a bill that bans police from posting mugshots of people accused of non-violent crimes on social media. So Gavin Newsom on Friday signed a bill preventing police from sharing mugshots on social media, and the bill sponsor said he hoped the legislation would help tackle the unconscious bias. Under the law, police can still share photos of individuals they believe are dangerous and those who are accused of violent crimes, but those people that have been accused of misdemeanor crimes, they can no longer and non-violent crimes, they can no longer post their mugshots up on social media. The bill, known as AB 1475, stated there's unconscious bias and an assumption of guilt that is created when police post booking photos online. Sometimes, he noted, police will share photos mocking those accused of the crime. The bill passed with bipartisan support, and there was no organized campaign against the legislation. The law also passed with support of the San Francisco Police Chief Bill Scott, and it's also been reported that other had a few other cities that went along with that. Chiefs of police from other cities went along with that. So it's just this last story, man, is just a heads up. It's a heads up, man. You got a healthcare worker. This is somebody that was working at a hospital that eventually ended up catching COVID while working at a hospital. Now, this particular person even though she works at a hospital, even though she contracted COVID at this hospital, she said she got nearly $1 million in medical bills. So why isn't the hospital helping this person, and why aren't they picking up the tab on this? This is, I don't get it. I really don't get it. But Shanita Russi caught COVID while working in Boston as a mobile respiratory therapist, and she became so unwell that she was put in a medically induced coma. Russi has racked up an eye-watering amount of medical bills, close to $1 million. A healthcare worker from Arkansas has said that she racked up medical bills of close to $1 million after she was hospitalized with COVID-19. She caught the virus while working doing, as I said, as a respiratory therapist for COVID-19 patients in Boston at the start of the pandemic. She was hospitalized for a month and was placed in a medically induced coma. During that time, she racked up all these bills. Said the bills are incredible. Now, in Little Rock with her family and dealing with long COVID, which is the effects of COVID after if you survive, sometimes you have symptoms that might last a lifetime. We don't know yet. But she said she's having to spend even more money on cardiologist consultations, rehabilitations. She's unable to walk without a cane and hasn't been able to work since getting sick. And it's been reported that she got a workers' compensation that's covering some of the costs, but she is still seeking to settle the bills with the University of Arkansas for Medical Sciences and Baptist Health. So Baptist Health, where Russi is currently receiving treatment, said that the average charge for COVID patient is approximately $62,000. Wow, man. Wow. That's $62,000. I mean, who really has that kind of money? Man, this is really, this whole COVID situation, man, is really, really a bad situation. I don't understand why you have those people out there that won't get vaccinated. It's like, I don't know if they're scared or if they're just silly. I don't understand, and I have to admit, at first I wasn't going to take the vaccine myself. But once I realized and thought about it, I said, well, wait a minute. I have older, I got older and younger family members that if something happened to me, if I messed around and got sick, and if I had to come in contact with them, it would be a possibility that I would probably spread it to them. And so I just decided, well, let me go ahead and get it. Family and friends, you want to be safe. You want to be safe, and you want to be around for your grandkids or whatever. So it is what it is, folks. Get the vaccine, man. Get the vaccine. Stop being stupid. You want to go around. You want to hang out with your homeboys on the corner. You want to go to the park and you want to shoot basketball. You want to go to the pool hall. You want to shoot pool. You want to smoke a blunt with your boy. You don't know if your boy got COVID or had the vaccine or not. So you're playing Russian roulette with your lives out there, man. Get it together. Young and old, get it together, man. Get the vaccine. KP's Video News, y'all.